Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Project Infinite podcast, the podcast covering the infinite and ever-expanding multiverse of fandom. From movies, comics, TV shows, video games, we got you covered. I'm Rob. I'm here, as always, with Court. And Court, it's She-Hulk week.
It is She-Hulk week, and to be honest, I couldn't be more excited. I'm actually looking forward to this show quite a bit.
Yeah, me too. As more things have come out for this, the more excited I get for it, and I'm just expecting a good fun time.
Yeah, is it okay to have a good fun time with these shows?
Not in the sacrifice of my continuity.
I don't even think the continuity is the issue with some people.
And the dang Marvel and their jokes.
Yeah, how dare you make a joke?
So that's what we're going to talk about this week. We're going to do a little She-Hulk preview and also examine the, some might say, controversial arc of Bruce Banner in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Right.
And I don't think it's quite as controversial as people think it is.
Yeah. I don't think it's too big of a deal. I think it's being made into more of a deal than it actually is, and I do think this show's going to deal with that once we get to talking about more the preview side of what She-Hulk might look like. I do think they're going to set something up, and I mean, a clip that just released 3 days ago kind of possibly confirmed that thing might be more true than we originally thought. So, again, I'm looking forward to this. It looks fun. They're marketing this as, like, you know, your Wednesday, Thursday night courtroom comedy drama, and I think that's a brilliant idea.
Did you see the Law and Order spoof that they did?
Oh, it's great. The marketing team on this, I think they're doing a pretty good job. And one thing, they're playing on us, and this is a Jennifer Walters thing to break the fourth wall. I mean, one of the lines in the last trailer from yesterday was, just remember whose show that is. And they looked at all the WandaVision fans, and they were like, was this always a show about Wanda and Vision? And then she's like, it always was.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about that. But before that, we do have some news. And let me check my whiteboard here. Oh, Dune's up there, and we do have some Dune news. So of course,
man, I love Dune.
We have to lead the podcast with some Dune news, some small news, but
don't ever call the Bene Gesserit small news.
I'm sorry, I apologize. To all the Bene Gesserit.
How dare you disrespect the sisterhood?
So Dune the Sisterhood has begun casting, so that is a thing that is still happening, but as everything related to Warner Brothers and HBO, I no longer trust anything that they have to say.
Right.
So
I do think this show will get off the ground. I mean, Dune was a success. Same thing with the Batman, of which we'll talk about for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I do think this show's gonna get a release date. It's gonna come out. I think it's gonna be a cool look into, like, kind of the outer rim, if I may, of the Dune universe. But I think that's going to be kind of a cool realm to dive into. Just a little bit of a look of, like, kind of that supernatural aspect of Dune, which people might have had some questions on if they're not, like, keen on the book as well. So I think that's going to be, like, a cool path to follow.
Yeah, I agree, because I think one of the kind of complaints about the film is that maybe certain aspects of it aren't totally accessible. And I do think the Bene Gesserit is a good example of that, in terms of, like, the movie does do its best to kind of try to explain what they are, but even still, it's quite a difficult concept to grasp.
Right.
So if they are going to do the show, if the show does end up happening, I think this could be a nice little companion piece to, like, the movie. Be like, remember those, like, mysterious kind of women beings that we didn't quite know how to...
That Paul Atreides is the only male version of them.
Yeah. This is, like, their backstory. So I think this is a good idea. And I think that's... honestly, in a sci-fi kind of universe, I think that's what you could utilize kind of spin-offs for. Like, to explore kind of a little more confusing aspects of a thing that you might have seen and maybe didn't totally understand and didn't want to dive into the 600-page novel to try and understand or go to the Dune wiki that I'm sure exists. But now they're going to give you a companion piece of media to attach to the film and be like, oh, okay, like, I understand now. So that when the next movie comes out, you have a better understanding of what's going on there. Right. So I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. Anybody you want to see in this series? Like, any actresses that you want to be in the Sisterhood?
I don't know. I think they can handle it pretty well, better than I could.
The only person I want to see, because I wanted her to play Irulan, is Anya Taylor-Joy. I think she would be she's just got that vibe to her. The witch, you got You got the Northman. She's got it.
She's got the same vibe as Natalie Dormer.
Yeah. Just like you're just a fantasy sci-fi is your bag. That's your home. That Furiosa movie is probably going to be phenomenal. I cannot wait for that.
Yeah.
If you haven't watched Mad Max Fury Road, you're doing yourself a disservice. That's one of the most beautiful movies of the last 10 years.
Yeah. Speaking of best movies in the last 10 years, so Top Gun.
10 years, 15 years, 50 years, 100 years. That movie's phenomenal.
So inexplicably, this movie has somehow managed to get to back to number 2 at the box office. Mm-hmm. That is Top Gun Maverick is back in its 12th week, is surging. And what is happening?
3 months of this.
Like, what is happening?
And I think it's going to get another spike during Labor Day as well. This movie just can't get out of theaters. It just won't leave. I just, there's no words for this. This is so unique in the way this is happening. And it's surreal almost, that this movie still is successful. And I guarantee if I were to go to the theater tomorrow and watch it again, I would get the same feeling I got from the first time. It's such a genuine, we've talked about it enough on here. It's such a genuine reaction you get from that movie. And it's priceless every time. You feel the emotional weight every single time. And that's something that can resonate with people. And it has.
I guess. Yeah, it's kind of crazy that this movie has the staying power that it does. I think we talked about at the time, for a movie to get this kind of reaction and be the successful, to not be some type of fandom movie or fantasy movie or superhero movie, it's kind of crazy. Mm-hmm. This is pretty, it's pretty grounded.
Yeah, no, it's nothing, like we said, as complex as, the production of a movie like this is and what you need to go into to film something like this. And all of that added to the realism of the movie. At its core, this movie's pretty simple. This isn't an overly complicated movie. It's just the good guys going to the ambiguous bad guys and blowing some stuff up. Yeah. That's it. And Tom Cruise is in this. That's it. But it works.
Yeah. And I think too, it appeals to a very wide range group of people.
That's an amazing point. Yep.
Check whatever box you want to check. There's probably something in this movie for you. Yeah. Regardless of what type of movies you're into, what type of actors you're into, this movie probably has a little bit of something that you'd be interested in.
Right. And I saw it twice in a couple days span. We went to the fan event, which was one of the greatest decisions I've ever made in the history of this podcast up until this point. But that fan event was just that was one of the most genuine theaters I've ever been in. We said it, there were people leaning forward in their seats. The only time I've seen that is during Avengers Endgame, but that was for a different reason. This was generally just watching a film and being that entranced by the movie making process and the story it was telling. That is insanely difficult to do nowadays. You can do that 70s, 80s is a peak time for that, 90s, but now with all the streaming services and the way we kind of consume movies now, Tarantino said it best, and I talked about it before. I never thought we would get to that again.
No,
we did.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. But props to that whole crew that developed that movie, and Tom Cruise and Miles Teller and everybody. Yeah. It's one of those movies that you can tell that everybody contributed and everybody was meaningful.
They were all bought into
they all bought in
because it was they were being asked to do the impossible for some actors would have immediately said, I'm genuinely in danger if we try to do some of these things, but they all bought into the process. And like I said, that's one of the only examples of modern movie making that was your 70s and 80s way of making movies. We are going to go big or go home. So
and they went big.
Yeah, they did.
And that movie continues to succeed.
You told me to go big.
Yeah, that movie continues to succeed, and I think it legitimately has a chance at Best Picture at the Oscars just because of this. It's the perfect marriage of being a genuinely good movie that the Oscars but also being incredibly commercially successful, which is, a lot of people, that's the debate at the Oscars. Is the Oscars a reflection of the commercial movie business?
Yeah, the Oscars are a lot if I'm to use a sports it's a lot like the NBA way of picking an MVP. is it a narrative thing, or is it genuinely because this person or this player is that good? Like, that's how the Oscars in the modern day feels like, at least. And like, if I'm to pick one, like, Moonlight felt like a genuine, like, for me, pick, and I might be a little biased, but Moonlight feels like a genuine pick versus, like, I don't know, Green Book felt like a more of like a narrative pick, like like to fit like what was like, you know, a good pick that everybody would be good with.
But also, Top Gun
is both.
Is both.
Yeah, it is. It's like a rarity where it's both. So
it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
So moving on, a couple things that broke kind of earlier today. So this Hunger Games prequel thing is
catching fire.
I see what you did there. Yeah. So Viola Davis has signed on to be, I guess, the quote unquote villain of this. She's going to be Dr. Let me see if I got this right.
Dr. Michael Morbius.
Nope. There can only be one. She's going to be playing Dr. Volumnia Gaul, which is the most Hunger Games name I've ever heard. And she is described as the head game maker of the 10th annual Hunger Games, and she is signed on in the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Cool. Very cool. Right. Anytime you can get Viola Davis, you get Viola Davis.
Yeah. I know Marvel's probably chomping at the bits to get her. I don't know how that's going to work with her playing, you know,
Amanda
Waller. Black Adam's own Amanda Waller.
Yeah. So it's a great addition. Joins a increasingly star-studded cast. Tom Blythe, Rachel Zegler, Josh Andres Rivera, Peter Dinklage, Hunter Schafer, all going to be in this Hunger Games prequel. And, you know, we've talked about this before. It feels like maybe the right time to do this. You know, we've kind of, the young adult kind of genre of film, as far as like adaptations, has kind of cooled a little bit. But the Hunger Games, obviously one of the most revered versions of that.
That was the magnum opus of your young adult age. Maze Runner fans are like,
so
Divergent fans are like, it was us. Percy Jackson fans are like, it was us.
And Harry Potter's just in the background like, you know.
Yeah.
You know what it really was. But the Hunger Games had a stranglehold. It launched, you know, different versions of young adult novel adaptation films to varying degrees of success. But we talked about a lot about Catching Fire being a genuinely good movie on top of being one of the best kind of young adult novel adaptations of all time. So
can I say something? I love the way they shot the first one. Like, the first one feels like
indie kinda?
It feels like extremely like indie feeling, like there's a lot of like handheld shots, like a lot of shaky cam, like a lot of like
Jack Quaid's in it.
Jack Quaid kills people in that movie.
So Jack
Quaid's been forgiven though.
The
actress that played Rue has forgiven Jack Quaid.
So that's cool. I'm more and more intrigued by this as things come along and things fall into place.
We should review the Hunger Games trilogy plus one.
Yeah, I'd like that. That'd be fun.
That would be fun. We could just gush about Catching Fire, and then we could talk about Mockingjay Part 2.
We could talk about our guy Jeffrey Wright.
We should just do an episode dedicated to Jeffrey Wright, and then I should ask Jeffrey Wright if he wants to be in it. Yeah.
Close personal friend.
Yeah, of the pod. Once he knows he's on the whiteboard, he'll be. We gotta get this whiteboard like
made.
It's made. It's made. This is me from the future talking. It's made.
So the other bit of news that came out is we're getting a Wizard of Oz modern day retelling / remake.
Cool.
Directed by Kenya Barris, who is the showrunner for Blackish and among many other things over at ABC. And interesting.
Interesting is right. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
we could use more Wizard of Oz. Didn't we get that Oz movie with James Franco?
Yeah, where he was.
Oh no,
it was the Oz prequel.
Oh no, man!
How did he become Oz?
You
want to know how I got this palace?
You want to know how I got this Oz? It's about time we get a reboot. Maybe we should put that to the side.
Yeah, but yeah,
cool.
Yeah, we've done some Wizard of Oz retellings, and I mean, you know, that's what you do with historical properties like that. You do it, but do it with a little twist.
Yeah, right.
And you know, if Kenya Barris can bring something different to the table, then I'm all for that, because that's what we should try to do with kind of, you know, legacy properties is take them and do something a little different.
Yeah, maybe get a Is she directing or is she producing
I believe she's directing it.
Interesting. I thought she was just going to produce it, but...
Yeah, I think she's directing. Yep.
Nice.
So we got that. What else we got? So Giancarlo Esposito has been making some waves.
I love that guy.
Everyone loves Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah. If you don't like him, you're weird.
Yeah. What are you doing?
Yeah. Go watch Breaking Bad. Go watch Do the Right Thing. Go watch The Mandalorian. Just go watch something with Giancarlo Esposito and
go play Far Cry 6.
Go play Far Cry 6. No, just watch the promotion from Far Cry 6.
So he's been making some waves. Obviously, he has been a circled actor for many of fan casters for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and he has since revealed that he has talked with Marvel in the past, including turning down a role for what was believed to be for Loki, and that he is kind of waiting for something a little bit bigger to do with Marvel. Huh.
Who you got?
See, I don't know, because it's hard to say that they would wait for him to do something like Professor X and Magneto, because we've talked about the legality issues with those X-Men characters that they can't even talk about it, discuss it, do anything related to those characters until 2025.
I got an idea now, but go ahead.
So, I mean, Doctor Doom feels right.
Why's he got to be a villain? The only thing I love about him being Professor X is like, listen, X-Men, Professor X is the worst. He's the worst. He's got a school with child soldiers in it, and nobody just bats an eye. They're all cool.
So there's this Spider-Man cartoon coming out, right? And this
they
image,
gave him the waves.
This image that they showed off of Norman Osborn look. He looks very strikingly like Giancarlo Esposito, and I think if you're not gonna do Norman as the Green Goblin in this Tom Holland universe, and you're just gonna use him as this corporate Oscorp figurehead, I think Giancarlo Esposito would be perfect. For that.
Maybe give him the Green Goblin down the line.
Maybe, but you wouldn't need to.
No,
you know. Considering that this Spider-Man has already combated a Green Goblin already, you don't need him to be Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin. You could even, dare I say, make him Norman Osborn, but be kind of not villainous.
Right.
He could just be Norman Osborn, head of Oscorp, and be a bit of a prick, but not be like an outright villain.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty cool idea. What it adds to is like, you don't need to. It's like the Amazing Spider-Man 2 syndrome is what you're afraid of, right? You don't want to get to that point where it's like, it feels shoehorned, because we've seen him twice. And I mean, not for nothing, Willem Dafoe came back and gave a great performance as Norman in Spider-Man No Way Home. So maybe I think that's a solid route. But I did see that picture of him bald, and now I can't get it out of my head. I just don't. Something about Giancarlo Esposito saying to me my X-Men would give me like chills. And like Glenn Powell running out as Cyclops would just give me even more chills. Like, he's got that feel of Professor X. Like, he's like ominous. You can tell he might be keeping things from you, but there's this nature. Like, I want to see him do something where he's just not the villain. Like, I think that would be kind of refreshing. Galactus is another thing that I just thought of that would be kind of cool. Give him the headpiece. Give him the big headpiece.
That'd be kind of cool. I feel like he did Star Wars, but I feel like Galactus is still maybe a bridge too far.
Because how would he do it? It would have to be like a mocap thing he would have to do.
A lot of CGI. Right, and I feel like if you're going to get Giancarlo Esposito, you need that presence.
Give him a break. Let him sit in the chair.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of what he does and what makes him so great is like his presence and the general like uneasiness and tension.
You remember when he showed up in The Mandalorian? You have something I want.
The Mandalorian. I mean, I think about him and the boys.
Oh my gosh,
his scenes with Homelander.
Just no fear against Homelander. It's just inspired.
Tremendous.
Yeah,
tremendous. So yeah, but Galactus would be interesting. Yeah, I can't deny that.
Yeah, it's those rumors that it's Glenn Powell is kind of in talks to be Scott Summers, because I mean Taron Egerton in a recent interview did say that he was up for Cyclops and he talked to Marvel about Cyclops. So it does tell me that just based on a bunch of leaks, like they have in interviews with actors that denied it, like they're getting the X-Men ready, and this is going to be a completely new cast, which we've already said before, that we knew that they were going to go that route. And now the Secret Wars revelation, on the legality side, it wasn't even like the in-universe side, that they couldn't use the characters until 2026, even makes more sense. So, I mean, Glenn Powell's emergence as Hangman, just, he's probably going to, what is he, 33? He's going to probably start popping up in movie after movie. He might turn into one of Hollywood's it men in the next couple of years, and I think being the head of the new face of the MCU would kind of help that as well.
I think that's an interesting point, because a lot of people are like, oh, and we need these people to be young. Not necessarily. And something, I mean, if my theory's right about the X-Men, that's something that can remove from the timeline, like, it would be cool if we didn't need, because we already had the origin, and then we redubbed the origin, and then you retcon the origin in Days of Future. Like, we know kind of who the X-Men are. The Fantastic Four is a different story, but I think we know who the X-Men are. Like, it's just, it's these people that just get born with, there's a mutation in your blood, Kamala. But no, I think it would be an amazing choice to have Giancarlo Esposito as Professor X, and like they come back into the timeline, and like Glenn Powell is already Cyclops, whoever you get to be, Jean Grey is already Jean Grey. Like, you get all these people, and then you go from there. Like, I'm from the fruition. Do not do Wolverine, like leave them for a little bit. Leave them for a second and do it how they did the comic, because like nobody cares. Let me talk about some comic. Can I go off for a second? Go off. Kate.
Nobody cares about the first 74 issues of the X-Men. Just nobody cares. People care. There's appearance. Juggernaut's in there. Good job, Juggernaut. Good job. Cool. You hit issue 75. That's where you get giant-sized X-Men. Storm, Wolverine.
Giant-sized X-Men?
Yeah.
They should have led with that.
They should have. They probably should have. It was giant-sized. Everybody... Come on. Who was it? It was like the all-international team, because those idiot X-Men got captured on Krakoa. What was it? It's Storm, Colossus, Wolverine. It's like all of them, Banshee, like Thunderbird, like they're all from different countries and different places and different nationalities and different parts of humanity. So I think that would be a cool idea. But get Glenn Powell as Scott Summers. I think that is just perfect. It's either that or Hal Jordan. He's already got half of Hal Jordan done. Just do the other half. Yeah,
you don't need like to do the origin. You don't need to be like, oh man, here's all these people getting their powers and coming to their own. Like, you know, I think that's one of the things Marvel does pretty decently, is like they respect their audience enough to be like, here's this. Here's this thing that you know.
Yeah, you know, one thing they also do, just to piggyback off that, I sound like a college student, just to piggyback off that, but you know what's something else they do well? They found this weird thing that they do is like, they'll trust regular people to go and Google, like, She-Hulk, perfect example. Who's Jennifer Walters? All right, let me go Google her, and then you go in a search, and then next thing you're on Comixology looking at their comics. Like, it's such a smart thing that they do to get you back into their characters from the source material, too. Like, little things, videos, whatever it may have you, for people to kind of learn. And, like, if you can kind of lean on that for, like, a small portion of it, like, you can lean on the other movies that already kind of did those origins. You don't really need to go fully through an X-Men origin again.
Yeah, exactly. We
had X-Men Origins Wolverine. Will I Am in it.
If you want to know who Cyclops is, and you know, just
go watch that canceled Cyclops Origins movie we were going to get.
You know, the X-Men films are on Disney Plus.
They are.
Here you go. Go ahead and watch Cyclops get his powers and become the leader of the X-Men. We're not going to show you that.
We spent a lot of time on the X-Men, but I got one more thing. Make Cyclops the leader of the X-Men. It's not... He's the de facto field leader of the X-Men. Like, have him... he should be your Captain America. Like, that should be the guy that they all get behind. And it's just like, this is the guy that we're following in the field. Into the trenches. Like, this is it. And I think Glenn Powell is a perfect person to play that. Like, Scott Summers is like a jerk, but he's like a suburbs jerk. He's not a bad person.
Right.
Until he killed Professor X.
Well,
it wasn't him.
He had it coming, Professor X.
Professor X is a jerk, says Kitty Pryde in the comics.
So we've talked a bit about the Ghost of Tsushima film that is coming down the pipeline, part of Sony's ever expanding universe of films. And the director of said film has come out and said, look, I want, in a perfect world, not even in a perfect world, like I've talked to Sony about this and they seem pretty on board. So I want to do an all Japanese cast and I would like the movie to be an all Japanese, please. And I think that sounds awesome.
Yeah. Can I say the thing?
Yeah.
I was confused because you sent it to me. I was like, what do you mean all Japanese cast? Was that not the original plan?
Yeah.
As Tom Cruise backs into a dark corner?
Tom Cruise is Jin Sakai.
No.
No, but I think that's awesome because, you know, that game is so heavily inspired by the Kurosawa films.
Yep.
Right down to the fact that it has a Kurosawa mode.
filter, yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, I think this has the potential to be a real cool, like, old school samurai flick.
Yeah. If you get the right stunt coordinators and you get a lot of, like, you know, handheld action, like, not shaky cam, like solid, just hand to hand, like, just hand to hand or just sword fights, like, get Ken Watanabe as Lord Shimura.
That's a good call.
Oh, man. Get Ken Watanabe as Lord Shimura. Oh, it'd be perfect. Get the guy that played Jin Sakai to be Jin Sakai. Don't mess that one up. You got the... It's as ludicrous as people saying that Cameron Monaghan shouldn't play Cal Kestis. It's the only person. What are we getting another person for?
Yeah.
You saw him, like, crying when he played Ghost of Tsushima for the first time. That's, like, one of the most heartwarming videos you'll ever see.
Yeah. And, you know, you talk about the action and how you'd want it to look. I mean, Chad Stahelski is probably the man to do that, having directed the John Wick films.
I was going to cut you off and just say John Wick, because I couldn't remember his name. I was like, yeah, it's got to be. That's what you do in Hollywood now. You just get the guys that did John Wick, and then you're going to get good action.
But yeah, I'd be totally all for that.
Yeah.
I think that would be really cool.
Don't watch Last Samurai is not a bad... It's a good movie. But why is Tom Cruise in it?
Because he's the last samurai.
They dragged poor Ken Watanabe. Oh, man. You know how we were talking? You know who should play... So who do we got? We got Ishikawa. We got...
Yeah.
Give me from Rogue... Donnie Yen.
Donnie Yen?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. As the guy that tells the tales before you go into Legends mode?
Oh, yeah.
That's who he already did that. He just did that in Rogue One. Just have him do that again.
That would be very cool.
Donnie Yen spewing just absolutely amazing dialogue of just these, like, Japanese demons that are trying to take over the island.
Speaking of Sony movies,
Morbius news.
No. Because I was on Netflix and Uncharted's on Netflix now.
Yeah, I actually watched it the other day.
It's fun.
Yeah,
I like that movie quite a bit.
I think we're going to talk about it when we talk about She-Hulk. Like, I think we need to learn to have a little bit more fun.
Yeah,
and this is coming from somebody that's favorite show is Daredevil. Like, we should have a little bit more fun.
We'll get into that.
We're in a universe where there's a talking raccoon and everybody cries at this. Like, why are we getting so...
Did you watch any of that Groot thing?
No, I didn't.
Neither have I.
I feel bad. I will. I heard it's, like, super just cute.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you there's some people... Where's my MCU reference? Relax.
Rocket has a little pair of sunglasses.
Oh, my gosh.
Or a little pair of, like, reading glasses.
Just dad glasses?
He's entering, like, his dad phase.
Why does he sound more Italian than he did before? What are you doing, Groot? That's a 10 out of 10 impression of Rocket Raccoon done by Bradley Cooper. Yeah, hire me for the animated stuff. I got you.
But some not so fun news. So the Flash.
Oh no. I'm so sad that we've gotten to this point.
I wish I didn't have to talk about it, but I do. So we did our big thing last week about Warner Brothers and what is happening and what are they doing and why is the Flash not canceled yet? Mm-hmm. Well, look, they have a plan.
We have 12% of the 12%.
So obviously, Ezra Miller is a bit of a problem right now.
What do you mean?
And Warner Brothers has come to one of three conclusions.
Oh, I'm trying to keep it together because it's crazy that this was even a thought in their minds.
And we're not.
The first one.
They aren't sure what option, what door to walk through. So I'm gonna save door number 1 for last because it's the best door. So door number 2 would be we're just gonna shelve Ezra Miller from any type of promotion. Mm-hmm. We're gonna release the film and then we're gonna recast the Barry Allen.
Option 2.
Option 2 sounds good.
Option 2
sounds like the most likely.
It's like 90%.
That sounds like what's going to happen.
Just because of this merger, I'm going to drop that down to 75 because I don't know how... Because option 3 keeps inching a little bit closer.
Still don't know how you totally promote a film without the person that's starring in it, but that seems like the option they're going to go. That seems to be the most likely. That seems to be the one that you're able to still get your movie out and also part ways with your troublesome, problematic actor. Mm-hmm. That seems to be the most likely. Door number 3 is the Batgirl button, where you just ditch the film entirely. I think we've passed that point where that was considering.
90 million is something. 200 to 250 is just... Absolutely not. They won't. I don't think they're scrapping this movie. However, that possibility keeps right after the Vermont arrest. I don't know how. Again, how do you promote a movie like this?
Yeah. So
this is like having Amber Heard as like the face front of your Aquaman 2. You just can't. You simply can't.
Yeah. I still don't think that's going to happen because I feel like we've hit the point of no return for that. Mm-hmm. I think if they would have done it, it would have been done by now.
Yeah,
and I think
the movie should have been out by now.
Right, but I think they're committed to hell or high water. We're getting this thing out.
Yep.
So I don't think that's an option. But door number 1 is the door I wanted to circle back to. So I want to read this verbatim. Door number 1 is Ezra Miller gives an interview explaining their erratic behavior and does limited press. Absolutely not.
But wouldn't it be kind of funny, though?
I don't know what that looks like. I don't know who's there.
I love
curating this.
I love Joaquin Phoenix. And I think it's more of like he's just so invested into art, he doesn't care about all. Like, Joker's a perfect example because Joker, if I'm not mistaken, is the biggest thing he's ever done. Like, for himself being the main character of the story.
You could argue Walk the Line.
Sure, because you're playing...
Johnny Cash.
Yeah, you're playing Johnny Cash, so... just in a modern age of, like...
I mean, it's up there.
Right, yeah. Talking like a modern age of social media, I mean, an R-rated billion-dollar movie, like... You probably remember the press tour he went on, and specifically the Jimmy Kimmel one was like the one where people were like,
"What's going on?
What's going on?" Yeah, but I don't blame him because I don't think it's something he's intentionally doing. Like I said, I absolutely love Joaquin Phoenix. Like, I've seen interviews with him on some of his like smaller works. Like, he seems like such a genuine person. And sometimes that rubs people the wrong way when you're so genuine because it comes off as like standoffish a little bit. And I think he ran into that obstacle doing that press. This press would just be absolutely absurd because this would be like, can you explain your criminal actions for the last year?
Yeah, like, what does that look like? Do you want them on Jimmy Kimmel?
You can't have them on Jimmy Kimmel. Like, it would be a nuclear explosion waiting to happen.
Do you want them on 60 Minutes? What's the right avenue for Ezra Miller explaining their erratic behavior?
You can't explain that.
This isn't just erratic behavior.
No.
Like, this is troubling behavior.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just explain this away. Be like, I was in a real bad time of my life. Like, this has been going on for months.
They're 29.
Yeah.
29. They're not even 30.
No. That's the insane part about it.
They had such a future as the Flash, too. Like, and I remember specifically when that Snyder Cut came out, like, people were like, you know what? I actually might see Ezra Miller as the Flash.
Yeah.
And, like, enjoy what they're doing. And because what did we say? It was Ray Fisher, Cyborg, and specifically, like, Barry's arc. They felt much more round. And I mean, that end scene with
where
him.
Barry goes into the Speed Force is great.
Yeah, it is. It's the best moment they've had as the Flash, by far.
And then everything just started falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think, like I said, I think door number 2 is just keeping Ezra Miller away from everything and doing light promotion, letting the property kind of sell itself. If you can be like, hey, this is the Flash, and there's a movie. I think that's about as good as you can do with it. And then you just recast the character down the line.
Anybody you want to see play the Flash?
Yeah.
He said anybody. I don't care at this point. I'm trying to think of anybody that I'd want to see play the Flash.
I mean, Grant Gustin's the obvious one.
Yeah, I didn't want to say Grant because it's just too easy. And to be honest, I don't know if he'd play the Flash again. I don't know if because how old is Grant Gustin? He's like, because he was 25 when he started, and that was 2014, so he's only like 32.
Yeah,
like he's like 32, 33.
He's 32. Yeah.
Yeah. So It's so good. I remember when he turned 30, I'm like, oh no, Grant Gustin's getting old. And I'm like, wait a second, that's actually super young.
I know people have floated Lucas Till.
Yeah, that's been a name for the longest time. I think Lucas Till fits it's funny to say, he fits like the Injustice Flash to me a little bit.
Well, we'll step right over into my universe.
Yeah. Was that a shameless plug for the last episode? Incredible. Just like the Hulk, it's incredible.
Come on, over, Lucas. So I got but no, it's the Grant Gustin piece is interesting to me because I feel like he would do it
like a movie version. Like, heck, get Tyler Hoechlin in here.
See what I did there? Man, you want to like do the Flash, but big budget,
special effects,
and yeah.
Just be our Flash.
Just be for a bit.
For a
little
bit.
Yeah.
Well, we can kill you in Crisis again. Well, actually, this time.
Yeah, we could do that. And then we'll do a Wally West.
Yeah. Sure. That's a phenomenal idea. Have Barry Allen disappear and then give us a tried and true Wally West.
Yeah. Boom.
Not that the CW one wasn't. They just didn't. They
didn't explore it to its highest potential.
And I think Grant Gustin was hitting like the highs of highs at that time, so people probably didn't want to see another Flash at that time. They were like, we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. But
sad for Keenan Lonsdale, because I did like him as well. Specifically, like as Wally West, I kind of liked him. I kind of liked what they started him as. He was Dom Toretto. I just like
except he wasn't all about
right.
family.
His interactions with Joe were like they were kind of genuine. Like he was like, man, you had a son this whole time. You just didn't care. Then Dr. Alchemy said, "You want some power, son? I got you. What you need? What you need? I got him."
Tobin Bell was Dr. Alchemy. The guy from Saw.
Insane. Draco Malfoy was in that show.
He was for a whole season.
Yeah, Dolph Lundgren was an Arrow.
What a crazy thing to say.
Don't sleep on the Arrowverse.
Well, we said last week it's the most consistent thing that DC's been able to do. Mm-hmm. And people crap on it, but... Did
we talk about Greg Berlanti? Did we talk about that?
No, because that was after we went off the air.
On the spot news alert. Greg Berlanti's... There's a rumor that Greg Berlanti might be showrunning, or not showrunning, he's going to Kevin Feige the DC Universe.
Yeah, he's going to be like the guy and like it perfectly kind of echoes what we said last week about the Arrowverse being the most consistent thing that DC was able to produce, was spearheaded and led by Greg Berlanti.
Yeah, and the idea before was to have it be Jeff Johns, and obviously that didn't work because... I guess Jeff Johns isn't a great person, according to some people.
Yep.
Specifically Ray Fisher.
Yep.
Ray Fisher had some beef with a bunch of people. I mean, rightfully so. If everything's true, rightfully so.
Yeah.
Especially you, Joss Whedon. All the homies hate Joss Whedon. But yeah, that'd be give us a new Flash. Give it. Give it.
Yeah, we need a new Flash because
he needs the axe. We need the Flash.
This one has quickly
run its course.
Mm-hmm.
That's two.
Mm-hmm. That's two. All right, let's talk about some Hulk and some Hulk related things. That's my big transition to our main topic.
I said something about Incredible and you just ignored me, and now I'm upset.
Hulk and Hulk related things. So She-Hulk is releasing this week. It's releasing Thursday daytime.
I think it is just going to be the 3 a.m. release.
Yeah, unclear.
But
we are getting the introduction of Jennifer Walters into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's always an exciting time when a new character is being brought into the MCU.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Relax, nerds.
You could be DC Comics when you can't even introduce Superman. Marvel is introducing She-Hulk.
Ant-Man has a trilogy.
Ant-Man does have a trilogy.
We're getting an Agatha Harkness show.
Yeah. Meanwhile, DC's like, we don't know how to do Superman. We can't
what if, and hold on, you just put Henry Cavill in there. I know it's crazy, but...
We can't figure it out. We can't crack the code. He's so complex, we can't write the character.
Tyler Hoechlin just drops, like, he's just a high school football coach.
There's nobody that can do it.
Tyler Hoechlin's like, what did I...
We've never seen a good Superman story.
George Reeves is in heaven like, you idiots.
So She-Hulk's coming out this week, and
Kevin Spacey was in Superman Returns. That's tough. I don't know why that popped into my head at that moment, but I thought it should be addressed.
And we talked about up top how just great the promotion has been for this show.
And it ramped up because the first promotion, it was like, cool. But that first promotion was during the Expo last year, I believe. But it was with so much else that that's like when Christian Bale got announced as Gore. Like, so much was happening where it was just like, okay, this is fine. And then they were like, all right, what if we made this like a Marvel show? Like, this is the Marvel of Marvel shows.
Yeah, so Tatiana Maslany is portraying Jennifer Walters, and she has seemed incredibly just charismatic and charming for not just the promotional stuff, but also just in the show. Like, from the trailers and everything that we've gotten, it feels so just nailed it. Like, nailed it again, Marvel. You did it again.
Here's my thing, right? Just pick up a comic, like a modern comic. Maybe not something that's like an origin.
The Punisher.
Maybe not. So, what you're going to want to do is, like, pick up, like, I don't know, like, an Avengers comic nowadays, or, like, an X-Men, like, this is probably what it's going to... It feels like there's people, and they address it in the first trailer, like, the world's filling up with superpowered people. And it's not just, like, superpowered people that just turn into superheroes. It's, like, literally anybody... That's how comics are, like, just John Johnson at the end of the street just has lightning power. Like, that's how it is. And that's how this show is being marketed. And then on top of that, her being like, this is like a legal courtroom, like, comedy. Like, cool. Like, that's hilarious. Have her break the fourth wall a couple times.
She's doing that. Yeah. We're getting some of that, which is great. This feels like Marvel, like, MCU stuff when it's at its best. When it's not, it doesn't feel beholden to, like, the bigger picture. Mm-hmm. It's just, we're just going to take this character, we're going to have some fun. It feels like, you know, coming off the last thing that we talked about that they did, Ms. Marvel felt very like that too, where it was just, we're just going to introduce Kamala Khan to the MCU and we're going to have some fun adventures.
Yeah. I mean, the good point to that too is, like, now we're really diving into those subsections. Like, remember when Ant-Man came out and we were like a heist film in the MCU, and, like, that was like a extreme deviation. Like, we're into courtroom dramas now.
Yeah, we've talked about that. Yeah. How you know, what has allowed Marvel to have the staying power that it's had is that, you know, people say, like, there's this Marvel formula and all the movies are the same, but they're not. There's so many, like, these movies have genres within genres. Like, we talked about, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy is a Star Wars-y space opera type of movie. Captain America the Winter Soldier is an espionage movie. Ant-Man's a heist movie. You know, we talked about Spider-Man Homecoming kind of being that John Hughes young adult kind of movie. And then Ms. Marvel went a different direction within the young adult genre.
Or like a Disney-esque, like, TV show. Like, it was just... It's working. Like, I personally think it's working. Like, Eternals is just, like, this big landscape-esque piece, like, this existence piece. Like,
people are coming around on Eternals, too.
I was ahead of the curve.
You were ahead of the curve.
Just ahead of the curve.
You were the Christopher Nolan of Eternals.
Yes.
You were ahead of the curve. You saw it coming.
I tried to let them know. Somebody made a great point to me. Like, I don't know where Eternals takes place, but I just love, like, because I think the argument was just, like, nobody said anything about the giant space god that showed up on Earth, and I'm like, I just want to think that's, like, a Tuesday in the MCU. Like, space god, crap. All right.
Oh, man.
Well, can't do nothing about that, so...
And the cool thing about this is the show is leaning into the idea that, you know, she's just out and about as She-Hulk.
She's just a 30-something-year-old. That's it. Like, that's it. That just happened to get Hulk powers. That's it.
And, you know, the law firm looks at her and they're like, yes, marketing opportunity.
Right. That's a great, money. Like, money, marketing, Matt Murdock, the big M's.
And they're like, yep, you got your you know, 7 feet tall and you have Hulk powers. You can be the face of our superhuman crimes law department at this firm, which is pretty great.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, tackle all the stuff. Just go to the Dan Slott run of She-Hulk. There's a bigger writer that's, like, known for She-Hulk that I'll remember, but, like, just go through those runs. Like, that's it. Like, have her break the fourth wall a couple times. I love that Wong's just the guy now. He's just Magic Nick Fury. One of the best weird decisions that Marvel made that just paid off.
Yeah.
Come on!
Come on! Sorcerers, fortify your minds!
The Book of Ashanti.
Ah, yes, the Book of... And the beauty of that character, and particularly Benedict Wong's portrayal of that character, is how neatly he fits into any tone.
Yeah, it doesn't
Whatever
matter.
the tone is, he fits it.
Because Doctor Strange 1's kind of serious.
Yeah, and he's kind of serious.
Yeah.
And then
She-Hulk's not at all.
She-Hulk's not at all.
He was karaoke singing in Shang-Chi. Like,
you know, Multiverse of Madness, he
teetered a little bit for me.
He teetered a little bit of both. You know,
Right.
and now he's in She-Hulk.
I don't know why people like aren't buying into this. Like, this is so hilarious. Like I keep saying, like, just have a little bit of. It's okay.
Well, I think there's two things that people are already
Save the bigger one for the second, because I know the bigger ones we'll get into.
Two things that people are preemptively upset about. One is big and green and wears glasses, and the other is yellow and red and has horns. And people are already prematurely upset about how that's going to be portrayed based on what directors have said and based on what Tatiana Maslany has said about interacting with one of those characters in particular.
I mean, Matt Murdock walked into a Christmas party with a sweater that said "I'm not Daredevil," and people are upset. One
of the first things that happens in that Netflix show is the interrogation room with Karen.
Yeah. How long have we been lawyers? About 7 hours. He said, I thought you were going from when we passed the bar. I was going from when we got her for our desk. About 7 hours. I love that show so much.
So a couple other things. So we have Jamila Jamil as Titania. And she's going to be the big bad.
Yeah. I could tell, like, promotion, like, she's just having a lot of fun. Again. Yeah. Look how everybody's just having fun except for you nerds.
Yeah, she's gonna be some like social media influencer.
It's like it makes sense for modern age. Like how like TikTok was like a big part of Miss Marvel. Like that's how this is gonna be. Like it's just gonna be a modern age like take on She-Hulk and like the current state of what it's like to be a woman in today's society. On top of like having a major identity crisis.
So he's not going to be a big character in this, but I just want to note that our guy Josh Segarra is in this show. who's also going to be working at the law firm. So watch out for that guy, because anytime he's an attorney, he's something dubious.
Something's going on. I hope he's not the DA.
Oh no!
You're all for Queen from DC Comics. You're gonna come in and upend everything.
So the two big ones, well, two of the bigger ones, one of which is the big one, but Tim Roth is back as Emil Blonsky, King of the Abomination.
Yeah, and just a precursor to the big green guy with glasses. Currently, people are going to be upset about what they're doing with him. So again, this lived-in universe idea. It looks like he's going to be kind of reformed, and I'm going to just go out on a limb and say that Val's going to show up in the show. Yeah.
Well, we got a little bit of reformed Abomination in Shang-Chi.
Right, like, again, I think that Wong's getting ready to... I think that Wong... Because remember he said in Doctor Strange, he's just like, you get that big book when you become the Sorcerer Supreme. Like, I think he knows something. He's pulling the Batman from Batman vs. Superman.
Yeah.
Or from the end of it and into the Justice League. Like, something's coming. There's an attack coming.
Yeah, so, and then people are upset because of the recent clip that came out where he has his regular Tim Roth voice as Abomination. People are like, you're ruining everything I loved about the Incredible Hulk.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Whoa.
Wait a second. What did we love the Incredible Hulk?
It's fine.
Yeah.
I think it's underrated.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's not as bad as people said at the time, but now people just really revere it.
How convenient. It's almost like they were revering Iron Man 2 and Thor 1 recently is probably the big one that we could talk about to kind of comp this.
I mean, the Incredible Hulk it's kind of nothing. Like,
it's cool.
That's the problem with it. It's a lot of nothing.
Right, like the first two acts, not a lot. There's nothing of memorable nature to have. Like, one where people just obsessed with... Like Emil, not like the Abomination, like Emil Blonsky. Like, when were people obsessed with Emil Blonsky up until... You didn't care up until this point.
No, and he's a whole lot of nothing.
You didn't care until you needed to fit the Phase 4 narrative as, like, the Phase 4 is bad narrative. But magically, now this is when you're coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah, I mean, I think the third act of that movie is quite good.
It's cool. It's a cool third act. Like, when he jumps out of the helicopter...
And it has, I say this all the time about this movie, it has one of my best ending shots of any Marvel movie.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's him in the cabin and the day since incident thing resets to 0 and his eyes turn green and he like smirks. Man, if Ed Norton wasn't a prick...
Hey, man, you better watch it.
He could have been...
That's Tyler Durden. You better watch your mouth.
He could have been really, really incredible as Bruce Banner.
I see what you did there. I think he would have played well off of... And I don't even love to say that because I really
like Mark Ruffalo.
I like Mark Ruffalo as Bruce Banner a little bit more, but I think Norton's like... I think Norton has a better control of, like, the battle between Bruce and... I think
the best version of that Ruffalo has done was Age of Ultron.
Yeah, because, well, I mean, that was, again, the Scarlet Witch stuff is, like, a big piece of that, like, messing with their minds, like, him seeing, like, the darkest version of himself, and then led into... And I think what Taika Waititi did in Ragnarok was cool, too, because, like, he kept the power, but it was, like, he played on, like, some of those, like, deeper comic cuts, like, that's, like... Hulk's mind is like a child's mind. That's why he's acting the way he's acting.
Yeah.
Like, why do you think like a child wouldn't want to go fight Thanos? Like, why do you think he went back into his body? Like, that's why he did that.
Yeah. So, segueing to that. So Mark Ruffalo is in this as Professor Hulk, and people are mad.
Yep. People are real mad. Look how they massacred my boy.
But they didn't, though. What we're experiencing, and maybe I'm just galaxy braining this, and Marvel hasn't thought about this at all. But what we've been experiencing probably since Age of Ultron has been like a background Hulk arc.
Because they didn't have the rights, so they could. Because they would probably have loved to make a Hulk. They would have made several Hulk movies by now.
Yeah. So that since Age of Ultron, we've been quietly doing a Hulk story behind the backdrop of everything else. So there was Thor Ragnarok, where he was trapped as the Hulk for 2 years, and then reverted back to Banner, and he was like, "Whoa, like this is jarring."
Right.
And then we had Avengers: Infinity War, where he ultimately gets just absolutely shellacked by Thanos, and to the point where the Hulk is like, just nope. I'm not doing this.
Nope, I'm good.
I'm not doing anything anymore. And then that transitions us to Avengers Endgame, where we find out that Bruce has figured out a way to be the Hulk, but also be in control of his own faculties as the Hulk, which is a thing that happens in the comics.
Like, why are we acting like this never happened before?
Yeah. So, and that's where we are now, because I'm a little unclear how Shang-Chi ties into all this, because the post-credit scene of Shang-Chi very visibly shows Bruce in a sling, and also as Bruce.
Well, I want to assume that, I mean, the clip from 3 days ago is the clip where, I mean, we get two things. We get the argument of Steve Rogers is still a virgin. Hilarious. We never know. But the two more important things are we know how Jennifer Walters gets Bruce's blood directly this time instead of indirectly, which is kind of cool, kind of crazy. But one of the Sakaar ships shows up. So Jeff Goldblum might show up, and it's a might, but
here you go.
Here I go. Oh no. maybe I'm the soups. All right. But in the clip, you see a Sakaar ship show up, so I'm assuming some Grandmaster probably A, wants him back. B is the theory that's been running around for a lot of people that Hulk, you left your son on Sakaar, come get him. You left Scar on Sakaar, come pick up your son, it's time for school. So yeah, I mean that's option B, is that the Hulk's got a little Hulk around. Like, is that just what phase 3 into 4 is about? Just giving
all
people...
the old Avengers becoming dads?
Yeah, that's it. I love it.
Or being dead.
Come on, man. Or both. Sorry, Tony. My bad. I would love that for Mark Ruffalo what would be even cooler is if he goes back to Hulk form and has to be a dad as Hulk, would just be even better.
That would make people even angrier.
Would it?
Probably.
He'd done it.
People want to see Hulk destroy stuff.
They want to see Hulk destroy stuff. They want to see him be Maestro Hulk. Like, that's what they want. They want the smart Hulk, but they want the smart Hulk that just, like, is like
ultimately, I feel like people want is like World Breaker Hulk.
Which, to the next theory, I think that's what they're working towards.
I think that's what they're working towards too.
Because
I talked about that a couple weeks ago.
We just found out 2 days ago that Universal's only got a couple months left on this deal. If not, and they're not going to make it. They don't have time to make a Hulk unless they were working on it this whole time, which is just not true.
They're too busy doing their MonsterVerse.
The Tom Cruise led MonsterVerse. Remember that promotional photo shoot that they did?
I'll never forget it.
Insane. They jumped the gun. That was like, when you look up "jump the gun" and like that's like the picture that's right there.
Oh man, no, I mean, I talked about that a couple weeks ago, that I think it's not an accident, at least to me, that they're leaning into this idea of him being jealous of her, and maybe that's not all him being jealous of her.
It was to the point where they released that promo of him throwing the rock, like, just like into space, and I was like, they had to have, like, Kevin Feige's like, go get, the nerds are mad, go get me a clip real quick, go get me a clip of him being strong. Like, he's still in there, like, he's like, he fought the biggest, baddest dude in the galaxy.
It feels like, and this is the problem with modern day, like, mostly in fandom, but just in general, is just people don't have patience to let things play out.
Right.
Like, they didn't forget about the Hulk.
No, that's one of your founding core pieces. Is Bruce Banner. He's one of the most synonymous, like, comic book characters of all time. They're not just gonna do this to him.
Yeah, they didn't forget about the Hulk. They didn't forget about that kind of unresolved trauma from fighting Thanos.
Right. I mean, we talked about it with Spider-Man. Like, again, the patience thing. Like, people saw Far From Home and they panicked. They were like, "Oh my gosh, like the Iron Boy Jr. thing started. Like, it was the Homecoming was okay, and then Far From Home was like, oh my gosh, like, you're really having this kid be," and then, like, it's a process. Like, not every universe is gonna look like a comic, like the exact comic universe that happened. Like, that's why it's a multiverse. Like, he got inspired by, that was Tom Holland's arc, is being inspired from seeing them completed everything that he needed to turn into the Peter Parker that we know and love.
So I think, as much, the promotional material, don't forget whose show this is.
I love it so much.
I do think there's going to be a little hint of what the future holds for Bruce Banner, because I don't think that Professor Hulk is the end of it.
No, it's not.
Like, he's going to end up reverting back to the Incredible Hulk that we all recognize and some people just want so desperately. Like, I think you're gonna get it at some point. And you just have to just let the arc play out.
And it's gonna be funny, like, when it happens. I guarantee you, there's gonna be some people like, Hulk's arc is just so beautifully done. I'm like, you wonder if you don't get there without the Professor Hulk stuff. If the payoff doesn't feel like, the payoff's gonna feel so much better with this in it, in my opinion. So
yeah, and the fun thing part about it is, and like leading up to Secret Wars, like, there's so many things in between that they can do. They have time if they want to do like a little mini, like, Hulk's the villain kind of mini series or movie or whatever the case. Like, they have so much room to work with.
Yeah,
like,
you still
can do that,
right? And I mean, you still have you still haven't done the big Hulk thing yet, which is World War Hulk. Like, you did the first half of it, and you were constrained because you couldn't do it in your own movie, so you had to do it with Thor, which was that was a pretty cool team up movie, in my opinion. That was cool. That was like Black Widow being in Winter Soldier. Get Hulk with Thor. Who's the strongest Avenger? It's Captain Marvel. Sorry, nerds. If you don't want to hear it, it's just not true. She's like, punch Thanos. She straight up punched Thanos. But no, yeah, the arc's gonna feel nice and sweet after this happens. I do think it's gonna be, because, again, I guess I'm the rumor guy now. I'm Brian Windhorst. I'm Woj now. Just mad. But we should just turn this into a basketball slash fandom podcast, and it would be so much better. But yeah, the rumor is that this whole Disney Plus thing is culminating to like a World War Hulk thing, which, I mean, where Hulk will be the villain, like, because who's gonna stop him? Like, there's nobody that's gonna be, and that's probably what they want. They're like, all right, cool. Nobody's gonna stop him, but maybe he can help us if, like, we're just trying to appeal to him, because Kang's on the way. We might need some help. And Hulk's like, I'm good. I'm just kind of mad.
I'm just mad all the time.
I'm mad that everybody was making fun of me.
They didn't respect my arc.
They didn't respect my arc, and look at me now. I'm killing everybody.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. I think, the Hulk is a great case study. Go back to the Spider-Man Homecoming post-credit scene. Patience.
Mm-hmm. Just take a deep breath.
You're not going to get everything all at once.
Yeah. I think Mark Ruffalo's I think he deserves a movie. Like, I think he's gonna get a movie, like, as the Hulk. Like, I think it's gonna happen. So, just take it deep, it's fine.
Yeah, and I think it would be a real interesting kind of thing to do, because we've done from Ragnarok, through, kind of to Infinity War to Endgame to now, we're at a point where, like, Banner is so fully in control. Mm-hmm. I think it would be cool to do the opposite, mm-hmm. do the reverse, mm-hmm. where Hulk is completely in control and Banner's totally locked away. Mm-hmm. I think that would be really compelling to mm-hmm. that arc and to that character. I think that's something that they could do, do it so, we get so used. And the funny thing is, people are so annoyed by it, but at the same time, like, Ruffalo is so good that you'd feel bad. Like, right. if like, Bruce was, like, locked away and the Hulk was the only one in control, like, you'd be like, oh no, mm-hmm. bring me back Mark Ruffalo.
Right. And again, that's the whole art thing. Like, what if we didn't get the She-Hulk part of it and the Avengers Endgame part of it? Like, it wouldn't feel as, like, complete. Like, you would feel like you were missing something, because, like, I don't want to hear, like, the like, making a character too powerful thing ever again if this is the case, because you guys don't have a problem when it's the Hulk. You guys have a problem when it's Captain Marvel, but you don't have a problem when it's the Hulk. So, if you're gonna do it, then do it. But, yeah, who else we got? Can we talk about the horn guy?
Yeah, we should. So
they're horns.
So, yeah, the big reveal at the end of the Comic-Con trailer was that Daredevil's in this.
You're Daredevil from Marvel Comics.
Oh no, we're bringing this bit back.
One of the best bits we've done. This is the bit we needed.
You're Daredevil from Netflix's Daredevil.
You're Daredevil from the Defenders universe, aren't you? Who's Iron Fist? Don't you know it's Danny Rand?
So he pulled up at the end of the last trailer. He was like, "Hello."
I flipped in because I do flips.
I'm the flippy guy. And he's wearing his yellow and red costume.
Ooh, people were not so mad.
They were like, ooh,
because it looks a little bit more gold. And somebody made the absolutely perfect point. I probably wouldn't want to be the same suit that my man Bullseye was going around killing people in.
I was curious, I think this was a rumor for the longest time, actually, that, if he was going to come back into the MCU, that they would do the yellow suit. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I was like, how's that going to look? Looks pretty good. And
then Kevin Feige's like, born again. Here you go.
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
I think he'll get the red suit back.
He'll end up in the red. Yeah,
I think it'll look, if I'm being complete, I think it's going to look something in between Ben Affleck's suit and his suit in Netflix. It's going to be like a happy medium.
I think it's going to be a little more red.
A little bit more red. They're going to do the Flash. They're going to brighten it a little bit.
It's just going to say Born Again on the back.
Nope. But, oh man, so I'm on my MCU rewatch. I'm in like the Netflix throw of it now. So I'm in the Ant-Man Civil War before Infinity War kind of echelon, and that's where Marvel Netflix was like, we are hitting the gas. Every first season that we have is phenomenal, minus you, Iron Fist. So they're in their bag. I can't. There's just no. You can't talk about how phenomenal Charlie Cox is enough.
When things were happening where people were like, is this in the MCU? And they were like, the incident.
Yeah, the incident. We can't talk about it because legal. Hey, did you say legal? This is Nelson and Murdoch, avocados at law. That's a deep cut from my Daredevil fans.
Yeah, so Daredevil is in this. Mm-hmm. So the Daredevil cinematic universe continues to expand.
Yeah, Kevin Feige said at Comic-Con that him and Spider-Man are going to spearhead the street level. So cool.
Obviously, we've seen Charlie Cox. Charlie Cox. I turned into Mark Wahlberg
that
for a
was
second.
Insane. I felt like I was watching The Departed. This is wild.
We've seen him already in the MCU. Mm-hmm. He was in Spider-Man No Way Home.
He was in what?
Oh, you stole my bit.
I did steal your bit. I'm Matt Murdock from Marvel Comics.
He showed up in Spider-Man No Way Home. He caught a brick. He's a really good lawyer.
He is a really.
He was already jokey. Why are people concerned that he's going to be jokey in this?
He's so quippy in Daredevil too. Like, do you guys not watch the full show? Do you just watch sizzle reels on YouTube?
Do you just watch that? Do you just watch the hallway scene?
Is that it? Did you just watch each hallway scene? He was joking in the hallway scene in the second season. Remember he shot the gun and he started laughing? Like, What's wrong with everybody?
Yeah, I mean, his lone appearance in the MCU so far, he was jokey.
Stick is the worst, and like him and Stick have great banter.
Yeah, I'm a really good lawyer.
Yeah,
come on, man.
Yeah.
So we've seen Vincent D'Onofrio in Hawkeye.
People
were mad because he was wearing a Hawaiian shirt
that he wore in the comics.
And they're like, here you go, nerds. He's going to be wearing the white suit in Echo.
I swear people don't... Well, I mean, it's not even, like, I just know it for a fact. People don't even, like, make an effort to, like, fake that they know, like, remotely anything. And then they're just like, why would they massacre my boy like this? And just like, you never read that stupid comic where he has the Hawaiian shirt?
It's like, you only watch Netflix, don't you? And that's fine if you like,
right,
if you're like a casual viewer, but don't pretend you're an expert.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this isn't the Kingpin I know. The only Kingpin you know is the one from Netflix.
Right.
Like, it's got, like, every comic book character
has just an idiotic version.
Is dumb. Every single one.
This guy, Captain America, got steroids and turned into a super soldier. Like, Bruce Banner got hit with gamma rays.
Captain America was a werewolf.
He was
for a bit.
Iron Man went to space and was helping a raccoon.
Yep.
Like, where do we draw the line? Like, why are we picking and choosing so much? What's allowed to be funny and what's allowed to be serious? Like,
yeah, and you can have both.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what, you know, going back to that's what comics do.
Right.
Comics have ridiculousness, but also comics have some really serious stuff.
Like, I talked about it last week, that Mr. Miracle run. Like, in the same comic, you're dealing with, like, these tough implications of, like, of life, and, like, the comic opens with him attempting to commit suicide. And in that same comic, Darkseid is at a kid's birthday party eating carrot. Like, what are we picking and choosing from, like, people?
I know.
Nerds.
So yeah, that's the big thing, right? But with Daredevil in particular, is people are up in arms based on the comments that have come out from the She-Hulk crew about how his appearance, however brief it might be, is going to be, you know, exploring the lighter tone and the lighter side of Matt Murdock. And people were like, ugh.
Yeah. Frank Miller wrote Daredevil. He can't be jokey.
We want him to be upset and serious all the time.
You want a good balance? You go read the new Chips, like, I knew is a relative term because I think he started in 2019. Go read Chip Zdarsky's run of Daredevil. Amazing. Like, absolutely amazing.
Like, not everything has to be serious all the time. Like, it just doesn't have to be. Like, I think it's cool that they want to explore the lighter tone for Daredevil. Like, just why not, man?
Right. And I do think that they're going to stay faithful closer to the Netflix stuff and do go a little bit darker. For like, Moon Knight's a good comp for that too. Like, I think the Daredevil show, like, Moon Knight got dark. Moon Knight got pretty sad. Like, I think Daredevil's going to float in some range like that.
Yeah, and he has his own show where he has time. He's going to have time to
18 episodes worth of time.
18 episodes though. He's gonna have
be a lot of episodes.
But he's gonna have time for the serious stuff.
Right.
Like, the tone that whatever tone is gonna be in this She-Hulk show is not gonna be the tone of Daredevil Born Again.
Right.
I guarantee it.
Yeah, you don't get the namesake of one of the darkest comics ever written and just like, cool. We're gonna
I promise you that the Born Again show is not going to have the same tone for whatever tone he takes in this show. If anything, you know, maybe it'll explore a lighter tone, but I think what would be great if whatever run, however long he's in this, I think we're both in agreement. He's not, maybe one episode, maybe two.
Yeah. I think he's going to probably be like, one episode's just going to be Matt Murdock and the next episode's going to be Daredevil
Matt. If you wanted to kind of keep him consistent, like, this is kind of a comedy sitcom-esque show. Make him the straight man and make her the jokey one. Where, like, you know, and it feels like, you know, they're kind of doing that with Banner a little bit, but like, make her the one that's cracking jokes and Daredevil's just like, what? Like, because every comedy, you know, great comedies use that. You know,
he was doing that in The Defenders.
Yeah.
He was putting the Defenders on his back.
Yeah, like, the Defenders. Notorious comedy, The Defenders.
Why did they drag poor Sigourney Weaver into that?
I don't know, man.
They're going to recast Elektra?
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it?
I've heard Eliza Gonzalez is, like, the pick that they had. That's like the rumor. Well, that was on that big sheet that said that Anthony Starr was going to be Dracula.
Big sheet of things.
Big sheet of rumor things. Please don't absolutely not. Just say she didn't die.
Yeah.
Who cares?
I wouldn't, unless that actress is unavailable or doesn't want to do it, I wouldn't understand the methodology behind recasting some character. Because now you've kind of committed, right?
Right.
By bringing Vincent D'Onofrio in, by bringing Charlie Cox in.
Presumably Jessica Jones is going to be somewhere floating around.
And Kristen Ritter would be playing her.
Right. I think Mike Coulter as well said, yeah, I'm ready. Did you just dab? I'm Luke Cage. He's dab.
Like, unless the actor doesn't want to do it, like, you kind of committed now to bringing these actors back. Like, I think it would be kind of jarring, like, if they were to recast, like, Foggy Nelson, like, at this point.
Yeah, and just the banter and rapport they have with each other. Man, I keep talking about this Daredevil show, but watching the scene, like, again... Foggy Nelson is meant to be the comic relief, and watching him in a full episode, him realizing that Matt's Daredevil and like all the small things he does, like there's comedy in that, but that's serious. Like that's probably gonna be what we get. Like, where did it come from that Daredevil is this just the darkest of? Just because there's blood and some curse words sometimes doesn't mean
that's pretty much all it is.
Yeah, it's not like Logan. Like Logan's a truly pretty dark. There's jokes in Logan. Yeah. When they cut his beard to make him look like comic Logan.
That movie is great. I'd love to talk about that movie at some point. Yeah. For like a future episode of this. Just earmark that. Last
stitch part where he goes full berserker. Oh, some of the best comic book movie content you will ever see.
Yep. All right.
When she turns the cross to make it look like an X, I'm not crying, man. You're crying.
That was Kevin Feige's logo when it went... They
should have done it. They should have got Alan Silvestri to do it, so it's like nice and classical.
Yeah, so like I said, I don't think Daredevil's going to be a huge part of the show.
No. I think, like I said, I don't even think he's going to be in 2 episodes. I just think it's going to be 1. I think what it's going to be is like I think it's going to probably be like a middle part of the season because it's 9 episodes instead of 6. So I think it's going to be somewhere around the middle. He's going to show up, be like, "Hey, I know you're a lawyer, but there's this private investigator I'm looking for." Does the word Jessica Jones from Marvel Comics ring a bell?
And you know what? In a She-Hulk show, he could get away with saying that.
He can.
This is your bag, Marvel. This is your time to get that joke
Break
in.
every fourth, like, do your PG Deadpool. Or your PG-13 Deadpool. Break fourth wall breaks.
Let it happen.
They wouldn't put Ryan Reynolds in here. I'm doing it again. Careful.
Don't do this.
Because they said there's more cameos. Who else you got?
That's a good question. Like cameos as far as what?
Like just people,
like characters we've already seen.
Yeah, and this can expand. This doesn't just need to be the people we've seen. Like this can expand to Netflix. Get Quake, get Daisy. I'm on an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. high right now. So
would they put Ryan Reynolds in this?
That's what I'm saying. So just out of the bat, they said that because I don't even have a doubt in my mind if they had the full rest of Spider-Man would have shown up in this show. I don't even have a shadow of doubt that Tom Holland would have been in there if they had the full rights, but they don't. And they said that the writers were upset about it. And I think that Daredevil was probably like okay, we don't have that, but we got this.
Maybe we'll put the damage control lady in. She'll be back.
Oh, no, but she's fired. She's fired and she's canceled.
She was apparently in Spider-Man No Way Home. Did you see that?
She was in, like, The Reflection, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Continuity.
But she still sucks. Go storm that mosque.
I'm trying to... Do you think they could, like, pull the wool over our eyes with this Daredevil thing and be like, here's the Punisher?
John Bernthal would be in She-Hulk?
Would he not?
I don't know. Man, when Wong showed up in that trailer, I was like, wait, hold on. I was like, this is an MCU show. This isn't just an MCU. This is a Marvel Cinematic Multiverse.
They should bring back, what's her name from The Incredible Hulk?
Ah, yeah.
Betty.
Liv Tyler, yeah. Sure.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. What you know what I'd love if like they're best friends, but like she's like I always liked her, and Bruce is like that's my ex-girlfriend.
Which is fun because we've never heard Mark Ruffalo talk about Betty before.
Right. And again, that's such like a
except in that one What If episode.
Right.
But she wasn't Liv Tyler.
No. That's such like a courtroom comedy thing to do.
Yeah.
I love that this show is marketed as this Wednesday, Thursday night ABC comedy.
Like, you've sold me. This is like the perfect promotion for a show because like you've sold me on the concept. Mm-hmm. Like I'm sold on the concept, and now I get to see where the story goes. Mm-hmm. Like I don't know where the story goes. I mean, assuming it's going to be just She-Hulk versus Titania, like that's like the big marquee matchup.
Yeah.
But like I'm curious. I just want to know like what is this? Like the cool thing about these, I think these Disney Plus shows are finally hitting their stride in the sense that like this doesn't have to have like big. Massive. I mean, Ms. Marvel kind of sort of ended up having some sort of big implication, but this doesn't have to. This can be a fun little just 9-episode She-Hulk, kind of like we've been talking about, like a comic. Like this is like a She-Hulk comic right here.
Yeah,
like we're just boom.
A day in the life of Marvel Comics.
Yeah, like Hawkeye kind of had a lot of like resolution to do with like the Ronin persona and all that stuff, and you had like Yelena Belova in it, and kind of him coming to terms with Nat's death and introducing Kate Bishop and yada 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 yada, and mantle passing, and Falcon and the Winter Soldier dealt with a lot of that too. Mantle passing dealt with a lot of that too. So this feels like the first one that feels like it's just gonna be like a nice fun ride, save for potentially whatever they have for Bruce in this, which I think is gonna be a thing.
Sure. So where did Bruce come from? Who's Bruce Banner?
Well, Court, when a man and a woman.
Nah, fast forward. Get to the Ed Norton of it. So Ed Norton's an actor.
He doubled down. So the Hulk's been on quite a run.
Quite a run.
A little run in the first movie. Mm-hmm. It's The Fugitive.
You put that Hulk down now.
And Tim Roth is the Tommy Lee Jones character.
He is the Tommy Lee Jones. Wait, isn't William Hurt the Tommy Lee Jones?
William Hurt, yeah. Tim Roth's the other guy. Mm-hmm. William Hurt's the Tommy Lee Jones. Yeah, that first Hulk movie is pretty good. It's not bad, but it's not great. And it's, it lays the foundation for what we would get eventually. And then, spoiler, plot twist, he's Mark Ruffalo now. Mm-hmm. And The Incredible Hulk also, what it did was the ending of it with Robert Downey Jr. We're like, oh, shoot. Mm-hmm. This is a connected universe after all. Robert Downey Jr. is like, hello.
Yeah.
And William Hurt's like, you're Robert Downey Jr. from Zodiac.
Oh, deep. I like it. You're Robert Downey Jr. from The Judge.
Mark Ruffalo was also in Zodiac.
He was in Zodiac.
Yeah, and then he became Mark Ruffalo, and then we get Hulk in the Avengers, and he's like the loaded gun of the Avengers, essentially.
He's got a sad arc, man. It's sad. Mm-hmm. Like, if you add, like, the deleted scene of him trying to end his life, it's real sad, man. And, like, that's where I think Ruffalo's bag is, like, he the most deals with the weight of being the Hulk. Like, that's where, like, as Ed Norton's Hulk was just, like, Ed Norton's Hulk, like, felt like, it's the battle. Like the battle felt a little bit more, like, genuine. Like, he kind of succumbed to the beast a little bit more versus, like, Ruffalo, like, genuinely feels like a sad scientist that genuinely thinks they, like, messed up beyond return. Like, to the point of, like, the point of return was, like, 30 miles ago. Like, that's how far gone he is. And, like, he's, like, there's something gnawing at him inside of him. And he just, even after he takes control, he's, like, there's still something in me I hate. Like, there's, like, this genuine hate for this person, for this thing inside of me.
Yeah.
Even after Tony tries to spin him in Avengers and, like, turn him into, like, a hero, he's just like, the Hulk's still not a hero. He's just a beast. But I just learned how to control the beast. Like, it's a sad arc, man. Mm-hmm. And I thought about that a lot.
And that kind of hits its apex in Age of Ultron, where, Scarlet Witch gets in his head and he becomes the monster. He succumbs to the monster. And they have that weird kind of romance with Natasha, but we'll just...
Shelve it.
Put that over there.
Shelve it. No, we can't shelve it, though, because it's a part of this arc.
We'll just put that over there.
Yeah. So we're in the Avengers. Control. Tony's pretty good at putting a team together. Is he better than Captain America? Find out next on Captain America: Civil War.
Nobody zaps Banner with the taser.
Oh, Captain America's such a Boy Scout. You put that taser down now, son.
He said, nothing?
Nothing? He looks at his eyes. He's like... There's a really good point in the Avengers where, like, after Coulson dies, and, like, there's just this really great moment with Robert Downey Jr. where, like, Cap's like, you guys lost a lot of shit. He snaps back and he's like, we're not soldiers. I love that part. Because it's, like, truly, like, Cap, you old idiot. Like, we're not in a wartime right now. Like, we're just people, you old idiot.
Yeah, and then you obviously get to the big moment. The Dr. Banner, now might be a time for you to get angry. That's my secret, Cap.
I'm Hulk from the Incredible Comics of Marvel. Punches the Leviathan. And then leans into, like, one of the most iconic shots in comic book. I mean, in movie history, pretty much. I love Alan Silvestri. Love that guy. Get Alan Silvestri to do the Avengers. Don't stop. Maybe we get Natalie Holt, because Batgirl said no, Natalie Holt.
Yeah. Yeah, and then, you know, like we talked about, Age of Ultron kind of explores that a little bit more, and then he flies away. At the end of Age of Ultron, he's like, I'm out. Hulk flies a plane out of space. And then he ends up in Sakaar. And then we're like, whatever happened to Hulk? And then boom, Thor Ragnarok happens.
Boom, you looking for this?
You looking for this Hulk?
Yep.
And we get a little bit of little Gladiator Hulk action, which is fun. And then him and Thor have a fun romp, fun adventure where, you know, we kind of get to see, I guess you would call this like the pinnacle of the symbiosis between Banner and Hulk, where they're kind of sort of on the same page after he comes out of the 2 years as the Hulk.
Yep.
Because he can kind of go back and forth kind of at will, and he seems a little more in control. And then Infinity War, like, oh man, it's such a great framing device, like, of how powerful he is in Ragnarok. He, like, fights a giant wolf. He goes after Surtur.
And he's like... He's giving Surtur the business for a second.
He goes after Surtur, and then, you know, Infinity War, just wonderful framing. Like, you put your strongest character up against Thanos immediately, and Thanos dispatches him.
stones. Just Thanos. Is Thanos a robot?
Well, he has the Power Stone, but he's not using it.
Is Thanos a robot?
Hulk. What?
The Eternals. Is he a robot?
No. I don't think so.
Is he not?
No, I don't think so.
How does this work? Are the Eternals robots?
Kinda, yeah.
That's maybe the only thing I don't absolutely love about the Eternals. Is the idea that they're kind of like... I mean, it's if you want to put it like this, like, if you thought Vision was, like, sentient, like, they make Vision look like a...
Yeah.
like the wheel compared to, like, a MacBook. Like, that's how it is, like...
Yeah.
But still... I don't love it. That was one of, like, my gripes. It's like, it just feels a little cheaper. Like, it feels like, because I think they did it so Richard Madden can come back as Icarus eventually. But, I don't know. Give me Gilgamesh back. He had a sad death.
He did have a sad death.
Yeah. Angelina Jolie was acting in that movie.
She was.
That is a great pick to play Thena.
Oh, tremendous.
Yeah.
She's real good.
Eternal's good.
Eternal's good.
Confirmed by us.
And then
we blue checked the Eternals.
So yeah, Thanos put hands on the Hulk.
He said these hands are rated E for everyone, my man.
Let him have his fun. Yikes.
Boy.
That's when we knew. That's when we like the record scratched. We were like, uh-oh.
Man.
Just gave Hulk every hand.
Every hand.
When he had Hulk with the throat chop, I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah. I'll never forget, I looked at my brother in the theater when that happened. I was like, oh, well, this next 2 hours is going to be interesting.
And then, and then that's the whole struggle for the Hulk in Infinity War is he's trying to help.
He's scared.
And the Hulk is like, no. He's scared, but I think, honestly, mostly what it is, he's embarrassed.
Yeah. Sure.
Because, you know, it goes back to that childlike kind of, he's been the biggest kid on the block for as long as he could remember. And he just got humiliated.
by Thanos.
He got humiliated, and that's not a feeling he's used to. Like, usually, even when he gets kind of wallops in a fight, he usually gets his back. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, even when he fights the Hulkbuster, it's kind of a tie.
But he's, like, breaking off pieces of the Hulkbuster.
And then they put him he puts Hulk in that little, like, dome, and he goes underground and breaks out of the dome. Like, you never really see him definitively beaten. You know what I mean?
Nah.
Until Infinity War.
Thanos hits him with a 1-2, and like he hits him with a 1-2. I'm watching the fight right now. Like he hits him with a 1-2, and then he dips out of it and hits him in the back. I'm like, ooh, tough. Me personally, I wouldn't take this level of disrespect. But
and then we get to Avengers Endgame, and the Hulk as we know him is kind of gone. Mm-hmm. The Beast anyway is kind of hard is sitting in there, and like we said, it's only a matter of time before the Beast returns. Someone brought up an interesting point on Twitter, and I was like, huh, that's interesting. Could the Hulk remember that Peter Parker is Spider-Man? Like the Beast within?
Could he? You heard that people are confused as to like how Peter Parker can have like loans and like get like money and like be a person. Like they do realize he was just wiped. Like people just don't remember him. Like he can just pass somebody on. Like he's still Peter Parker. He was still born. Like all the things people just forgot that he's Peter Parker. That's it. Yeah. So it's like seeing your buddy that you haven't seen in 15 years. It's just like, oh, I don't remember you. Like that's exactly how they just don't remember him.
Exactly.
I guess people were it's weird. I didn't know people were confused. I thought that was pretty self-explanatory.
That was the least confusing part of that movie.
What was the most confusing part?
Everything else.
Jamie Foxx being Jamie Foxx instead of being Max Dillon.
That was pretty confusing. What was going on with Sandman? Was he there? Was he CGI? What was going on?
He was CGI. He wasn't there. I don't care. That was just Sandman's arc in the whole movie was I don't care. I want to see my daughter.
But yeah, that's where we're at. I mean, Hulk's arc is pretty short, to be honest, comparatively to like the other Avengers, because like we said, most of his arc is happening in the background.
Right, yeah.
Until it doesn't happen.
Until it doesn't. Until World War Hulk coming soon in phase 5 or 6.
Anything else about She-Hulk?
Read some She-Hulk comics. Just pick up like maybe like the first couple issues.
Yeah, get a feel. Yeah, if you're complaining about the tone of the show, pick up a comic, get a feel for what that character is, because it's this.
Has Tony Stark never made a joke? But like, this is the things that confuse me. Like, why are we acting like Robert Downey Jr. never made a joke?
That's all he did.
That's all he did.
And that's not even quote-unquote comic book accurate.
Yeah, like, Iron Man's much more of just a straight-up, like...
Jerk.
Yeah, like, he's still... But when did he start quipping? 2008. It's almost like comics or movies influence the comics.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. But She-Hulk, conversely, like, it's very She-Hulk.
Yeah.
This show.
Right.
And that's exciting to me because, like I said, while DC is like, what do we do about the Flash? Marvel is like, here's a She-Hulk show.
Yeah, here's She-Hulk. You guys like Wong? Here's Wong. You guys like that yellow suit that nobody likes in the comics? Here it is.
Not us elevating Wong to a main character.
You guys like Frogman? Here you go.
You guys like the Wrecking Crew?
Yeah, here you go.
Great. The only thing that is upsetting about this is that unfortunately William Hurt passed away, and I imagine that Thunderbolt Ross would have been in the show.
Oh yeah. Not even a shadow of doubt.
That's unfortunate.
It is.
But hopefully, I do think, you're right about Val coming back, and I think she's gonna hook the Abomination, being like,
you want a twist? What if Val and Wong are working together?
Whoa! Don't do that. Don't say that.
Who says that Val's a bad person? Luke Barton killed a bunch of people.
Are you a Val apologist?
I'm a Val apologist, and I'm a Hawkeye hater.
Are you a John Walker apologist?
Are you a Homelander apologist? Guys, I gotta address it. I gotta talk about it. You guys need to. Homelander he's the worst. There's no defending Homelander. That's the point.
Right.
That's the whole point. He's the worst.
Yeah, no.
Stop
apologizing. Stop romanticizing Homelander.
Homelander was misunderstood. What do you mean? Jump, Courtney. No. Jump.
The worst. I think that's all I gotta say about She-Hulk.
Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a fun next 9 weeks.
Yep, and then jump right into Wakanda Forever after that.
Not right into, but yeah.
In the crux of it, right?
Yeah. This will be over early October. And Wakanda Forever is out the following month in November.
We'll have D23 by then, so we'll probably know some stuff. We'll know some things.
We'll have Andor by then.
D23 is going to be around.
They're re-releasing Rogue One in a couple weeks.
Yeah, we're going to watch it, and we're going to review it.
Hell yeah.
Because Rogue One is freaking cool.
I love that movie.
It's the best-looking Star Wars movie. It's in the top 3. Don't as much as you guys don't like The Last Jedi, that movie looks incredible. That movie looks so good.
Yeah. And
you just can't not say Empire. Empire looks for the time in 1980 of how amazing that movie looked. Yeah.
She-Hulk. Can't wait.
Mm-hmm.
So you're still chucking along in your MCU rewatch?
Update number 2. I'm on. All right. So the last couple things. So I think what do I have to do? 3 levels because it's the ABC level, which is just Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's the movie level and it's the Netflix level we're at right now. I can't wait until I get to the Runaways. I don't know. There's specific things I'm looking for. Like the Runaways was a big thing I'm looking forward to. I can't wait to rewatch that. Good show. Remember season 1?
Yeah.
Man.
It's really good.
Does it take place in the MCU? Who cares?
Doesn't matter.
It does now.
Yeah.
It's alright. Nico's gonna be in... It's beside the point. She's gonna be in the freshman year.
Yeah.
Cool. So I just watched... The last movie I watched was Ant-Man. And I will tell you something. I like that movie more on the rewatch.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
The movie, so... On the rewatches, I got my trusty list right here and I ranked everything. Hold on. Play some wait music while I look for this.
The elevator music.
Is the elevator music just a redubbed version of the X-Men music? Is that what it is? What, should I just give my ranking up until this point?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Oh, I had a hot take in my rankings, but now I don't know if I agree with it.
Don't double down.
So, I'll go about it this way. Daredevil 1 is still the same. It's number 1. Guardians of the Galaxy I still think it's my favorite MCU movie. Then it's Winter Soldier. Iron Man, it's the same on the rewatch. It's brilliant for what they did in 2008. Age of Ultron, I don't... All the homies still hate Joss Whedon, but man, there's this subtle vibe in Age of Ultron. Like it feels a little unsettling in a good way. I don't know how to explain it. Like that's the best way I could kind of go about that. I didn't love the first Avenger as much as I thought I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Movie's still cool, but 40s weren't great for some people. Ant-Man I had above the first Avenger.
Whoa!
It's just Paul Rudd is just painstakingly it's like sickening how charismatic that guy is. It's undeniable. Like you would watch anything that Paul Rudd does.
Agreed.
I got S.H.I.E.L.D. on here, S.H.I.E.L.D. 2 specifically, because S.H.I.E.L.D., nobody cares about S.H.I.E.L.D. until episode 17, until S.H.I.E.L.D. falls. Nobody cares about the actual S.H.I.E.L.D. They care about the broken S.H.I.E.L.D. I liked Iron Man 2 a little bit more on the rewatch, and I guess another hot take is it's not as different than Iron Man 1 is what people want to separate it as. It's not too much different. The issue with Iron Man 2 is there's a lot of dead area in Iron Man 2. There's essentially it's with, I don't really care about Whiplash in the middle of that movie because once he gets taken care of, I don't really am worried about that. And it kind of, the push the story is that Tony's dying, but it's just like, he's going to save himself. So it's like, it takes away a little bit. Like that was the decision they went to go. Like he's going to get his due element. Like there's not really any like, there doesn't feel like there's stakes in that movie, if that makes that's how I felt. I didn't feel a lot of stakes, especially with Whiplash. Like it doesn't feel like a waste of Mickey Rourke, but it feels like you could have played into Mickey. If Mickey Rourke came in today's MCU, Whiplash would look just a 180 different. Like it would look a whole lot different. We got Iron Man 3. Didn't like as much on the rewatch. I don't think a lot of people loved it on the rewatch. Shield 1 is tough. It's the first 6 because they didn't. And I will say something that I kind of got the feeling of watching these things consecutively. You gotta think that the movies were like, all right, cool, we're gonna use these characters, and they were like, we don't know. Maybe we shouldn't.
Yeah.
Incredible Hulk, and then Thor 2. Just don't know why people are just automatic, all of a sudden loving Thor 1. Like, I just don't understand where this is coming from.
It's a perfectly fine entry-level introduction movie.
Tom Hiddleston's cool.
And Tom Hiddleston's good.
Yeah. Anthony Hopkins is in this.
He is.
I'm Anthony Hopkins from Age of Extinction.
No.
They dragged poor Anthony Hopkins into that. So yeah, the last thing I've watched was Ant-Man. I'm on S.H.I.E.L.D. season 3. Man, that show, man. That show gets so good, and we're not even into the Ghost Rider arc. Like, imagine a show about, like, espionage agents turning into a Ghost Rider arc.
One of the coolest things that they've pulled off.
Remember when Coulson gets it?
Yeah.
And then they had the audacity to double down and do the framework as the back half of the season, and it was just as good.
Yeah.
I mean, Fitz was an issue.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then I just finished Jessica Jones season 1, and I actually just watched Agent Carter for the first time. Didn't realize I never watched it. Cool. It was a fun little show.
Nice.
Yeah. It's another no harm, no foul.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Cool.
It was the 40s.
What have I been doing? Oh, I watched Sandman.
Yeah.
Oh God. It's so good.
I see what you did there.
It's really good. For those of you who don't know, it's based on the Neil Gaiman Sandman run, maybe his most iconic work. So it details the King of Dreams, Morpheus, who, aka stop.
Lawrence Fishburne has entered the chat.
More affectionately known as Dream, and then he is one of the Endless. And he's got a bunch of siblings. So there's Death, Desire, Destruction. Forget the other ones. They all have D's.
Mm-hmm. That's where the Flash season 7 got it from.
And it chronicles Morpheus as the King of Dreams being captured by humans, being captured by Charles Dance.
No, not Charles Dance.
And the kind of the cataclysm of events that follows what happens when the King of Dreams can't do his dream ruling? What happens? And a lot of bad stuff. Mm-hmm. People can't sleep. People can't wake up. So yeah, it's really good. It's dark fantasy mixed with a bunch of other genres, as anyone who has read the Sandman comics would know. It mixes a bunch of different concepts. It's very close to the source material, to the point where some scenes are quite literally lifted frame for frame, line for line from the comic. In particular, episode 6, where he has a chat with his sister, Death, and that scene is ripped almost word for word from the comic, in terms of him feeding pigeons and her being like, "Hey, Dream, why you so sad?" Mm-hmm. And he's like, "I'm not sad, I'm just feeding pigeons." And she's like, "You're sad." Mm-hmm. And she's like, "Come with me and come walk with me as you see what I do day to day, because you're so detached from humanity, where like my whole gig, I have to be heavily involved with humanity because I have to bring them to the afterlife." Mm-hmm. And then what else? So we get a Johanna Constantine in this. She's in episode 3, I think, and she's good. She's very, very in the vein of John Constantine, who they pronounce as Constantine in this show. But yeah, she's very, very. It's very uncanny how Matt Ryan she is. Yeah, but she's really, really.
Does she
good.
wear the coat?
Yeah. In one scene, she's got the long tan coat.
Let's go.
She smokes.
That's the only 2 things you need to be Constantine.
And then Gwendolyn Christie is Lucifer, who she is in episode 4, I believe. Because the first 5 episodes, it's 10 episodes, but the first 5 kind of detail Dream re-getting his tools, so his mask, his sand, and his ruby that he needs to reclaim his status.
It's Anakin Skywalker's arch nemesis.
as King of Dreams, and he needs to rebuild his realm, so he needs all those things, and that inevitably leads him going to hell to chat with Lucifer. And they were apparently possibly going to use Tom Ellis.
I had a feeling they were, yeah.
But they didn't want to confuse people, because for those of you who don't know, that show, the Lucifer show, is loosely based on the Lucifer of the Sandman comics.
It's Arrowverse canon.
It's Arrowverse canon. So they didn't want to confuse people, and Gwendolyn Christie is really great. And like I said, she's kind of limited to 1 episode, but based on how the season ends, I'm not going to spoil anything, but she's probably going to be a big part of the next season. So highly recommend. Everybody is really good in it. Really, really compelling. I think I sent that text that it had me questioning my own existence, especially when Morpheus dives into these kind of dragging monologues, because there is kind of that voiceover. He does voiceovers of moments in time.
All started with Oliver Queen, didn't it?
And it's really good. The guy's got a great voice. It's Tom Tom Sturridge, I think is the actor who portrays Morpheus. I was like, is that a real voice? Or is that like a dubbing? I think it's a real voice.
That's really cool.
and it's really good. It's really compelling. Not for the faint of heart. In some scenes, there are some depictions of self-harm, suicide, and some pretty graphic content. But if you can stomach that stuff, I would give it a watch because it's really, really great.
Nice. I can't wait. And we will be talking about this soon.
Yeah, possibly next week. Maybe we do Jurassic World Dominion. Yeah. I do think we're going to talk about Sandman next week.
So you don't think we're going to talk about Jurassic World Dominion?
One of these days.
One of these days.
It's not, to quote Aragorn from Return of the King, it is not this day.
It is not this day. But just for context, I went to Barnes & Noble's recently because, they got a nice section.
Because you're a nerd?
Yep.
Because books are for nerds?
Books are for nerds. Yeah, I walked in and got bullied. It was crazy.
At Barnes & Noble's?
It was just Rob there. Nerd. I was like, come on, man. But just for context, in the middle of their setup, they had a Sandman display in the middle of the graphic novel section. It was a big display, and it was just Neil Gaiman's Sandman run, and it was the whole thing was there, and it's just and it was almost sold out. That's how it is. So you can tell this show has an impact. It's the number one most watched show right now on Netflix, so the show's doing well. It's being received extremely well, and people are getting into the lore, and it's a cool lore too. And
incredibly cool.
Neil, I think we talked about it. Neil Gaiman himself. I think we talked about it when we talked about the Eternals. Neil Gaiman himself is one of the most revered comic writers of all time.
Yeah,
that man can craft a story with the best of them.
I did my grad school thesis on the personifications of death in literature, and
smart. Jeez,
that Sandman story in particular, the death character is something that I focus quite a bit on because it's an incredible portrayal in the comic, and the actress who portrays her in the show does it. It's incredible. Like I said, death only appears in that one episode 6, but it's my favorite episode of the entire season. So
10 episodes?
Yeah. 10 episodes, they oscillate between 40 and 50 minutes in an episode, so it's a relatively breezy watch in terms of binging. So, highly recommend that. We'll probably talk about that next week. Until then, you can follow us on Twitter at ProjectINF_pod. You can follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on Instagram
at the Project Infinite Pod.
Yep. New episodes posted every week as they go up on Apple, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, which is what I said the first time.
You're in a loop.
Google Podcasts, Amazon, Pandora.
Your grandmother's radio.
All that good stuff. Next week, I do think we're going to talk about Sandman, so that should be a lot of fun.
And then the next week's going to be Jurassic World Dominion. We're going to get this review out one day.
And then, so everyone enjoy the premiere of She-Hulk this week. We'll probably have some...
Enjoy it, nerds!
We'll probably have some quick thoughts on it next week.
Before we talk about Sandman.
Yeah.
Shows with the same tone.
So for me, from the Wong of the podcast...
What if Wong's a villain?
Which is the highest...
He's not the villain.
The highest honor I can bestow upon somebody.
Come on!
We'll see you next week for our possible Sandman review. Until then, goodbye.
Peace.